What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the harassment that the people working on The Last of Us Part 2 have received. Kind of throw my hat in the ring, kind of talk a little bit about it. It sucks. It really, honestly, it's not a good situation for anybody involved. And honestly, coming from a person that, the videos that I've made talking about this game, I talk about the positives and the negatives about this game. And with this kind of thing going on, okay, with the harassment that Laura Bailey specifically has gotten, obviously Neil Druckmann has shown things that he's been sent to on different social medias. It's terrible, and it really hurts, I think, when we talk about, okay, constructive criticism is good. And oftentimes with games like this, or with somebody maybe like Neil Druckmann, if you're on that side of the fence, maybe you say, okay, well, they're not going to listen to those criticisms, right? Like, can the issues with this game, which are legit, I mean, I think the legitimate issues with this game are real. I think they actually are legitimate, right? Will they be fixed in the future games? And remember, ironically, I talked about this before the game came out, and I said, well, you have to be kind of scared of, I think what we have to kind of keep our eye on is, do they kind of just push all the criticism aside to trolls, to people that don't really care, that weren't going to buy the game anyway, and do they just keep on marching on, right? I think, honestly, as the game has come out, as the game has moved forward, it's kind of even looking more and more like that. Now, they've said in different posts, oh, we respect criticism. We respect, like things actually, calling us out, that's fine, but not attacking, okay? So that is good news. That's definitely good news. But even, when you have Neil Druckmann and them saying, some of the bad review scores, they're just review bombing or they're just trolls and stuff. Now, some of them absolutely are. I think some of the positive ones are also that, right? So you have to kind of look at both sides of it. I'm not making an excuse, by the way. I don't want this to come off the wrong way. There is no excuse for sending death threats, for sending all of these different things that are going, Laura Bailey, Neil Druckmann, any of the, even, I don't know if Troy Baker's gotten any of them. There's no excuse for sending any of those things. And honestly, those are the people, I think, that hurt the movement of trying to get things changed, for the better. It hurts that movement because, again, you have, I think, and even I would agree with this, even though I do like The Last of Us Part 2, or I like a lot of parts of it, I think this is definitely their first step back. And I think a lot of people could probably agree with that in a long time, okay? I'd say even going back to Uncharted 2. From Uncharted 2, 3, Last of Us, Uncharted 4, Last of Us Part 2, I'd say this is the first time that they took a very noticeable step back. Now, in quality, in terms of how it looks, in terms of how it feels, no, not in terms of that, but just overall storytelling, how, the decisions that Naughty Dog made that we had to follow along with. I think you could, even if you're a massive fan of this game, I think you could still probably say and still probably feel okay with yourself that this is the game that at least a good amount of people have said, you know what, there are definitely some problems here, maybe some more glowing problems, or problems that we never really would have focused on before than in the past, okay? And again, these people taking it too far. Now, every game gets this. Every single game gets this. But at the same time, this is, you just don't want this from anything, right? You don't want this situation to happen. Hopefully, there's nobody running out there saying, in videos, that, they're just kind of focusing on a small, amount of people. They're just trying to, make a point. I do feel like, yes, again, this happens with every single game. I could definitely, I understand that people are sending these things their way. I'm not saying that Neil Druckmann is making it up, Laura Bailey is making it up. I fully understand that they're probably getting thousands upon thousands of these notes, of these whatever you want to say, criticizing the game. And again, it just sucks because, firstly, you don't do it because it's a video game, and you have and not just because of that, because video games are very real, they're very important to a lot of different people, they mean a lot. So I'm not saying oh man, don't let the game get to you too much. No, you have every right to let a game. Same reasoning why I say, if you hate this game, if this game really upset you, you have every right to say that, and you have every right to tell them, hey, you messed up, and give them your reasons. Tell them why they messed up, or how they could fix the things in the future, right? Not just say, oh my god, this game's garbage, you go off and you whatever. No, you don't do that. I'm always one to give people and companies, a situation even exactly like this, give them a second chance. That's why I've even said, I'm okay with them making a Last of Us Part 3. Firstly, it's their vision. If they're going to see it all the way through to the end, they're just going to do it, right? But also, I do think it's possible people to learn from something like this. Again, if done correctly. Now, again, them saying, oh, some of the negative feedback, it's all like trolls, that's not a great step, right? Because I think there is a lot of valid criticism on this game. And then also, if they focus it, so again, the biggest thing is you don't do this to people. But secondly, it actually even hurts the people going against the game, because now Neil Druckmann, Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, all these, Ashley Johnson, all these different people, they're looking at all this stuff and they're saying, oh my God, all of the hate, all the negativity, either it's all like this, or we're just not going to put up with it because we've seen enough of this stuff that we're just not going to look at any of the negative responses. You know what I mean? Now, I don't think that is going to happen in a large scale. I do think in general, with anything, with any medium, Neil Druckmann, who I have liked for a very, very long time, he has definitely shaken my trust of him for sure. One thing I definitely do not like about him is he's very, I can respect this in an individual. He's very confident and he's very like forward on this is his mindset. He created these characters. He knew what he was doing. He believes he made the right decision. That's great. That's honestly great for him. I just don't love the fact that he kind of, when he talks, he kind of like just puts away, like pushes away all the negativity, all the things like going against how he thinks. It's more like it's how I think and it doesn't matter how anybody else thinks. I don't love that kind of aspect about him. But again, I do feel like there's some learning to be done with this game, and I think that it can and should happen. Hopefully Naughty Dog does it. But this kind of stuff that happens also, you know, in any kind of game, any kind of movie, you get this, I think it hurts. I think it overall hurts it, because you can say, oh my God, all the people saying bad things about this are just trolls. They're like this. They're sending us all these different kinds of things, right? We're just not going to put up with it. So it's a really tough thing. It definitely is the world we live in. This, again, was an easy one to see coming, right? I mean, you could see probably after the leaks happened, and Neil Druckmann had said, like, people had really just turned against him on social media. Now, again, completely cool to turn against him. I mean, you could say like, hey, I don't like you anymore. Like you're not, you know, somebody that I'm going to respect. You're not somebody that I'm going to like. I have no problem really with you saying anything like that. But then obviously when you take it one step further, but even this, honestly, I don't think he's talentless. I think obviously he created the world of The Last of Us. He created these characters. So I do agree with him on that point. I mean, he obviously has some sort of thought in his head, right? Because he made this possible. I think there's a possibility to learn. So even the people that have criticized, even when I criticize, I try to look at all the videos I made. I try to come up with, okay, well, maybe if you did that, maybe you play as Abby first. Maybe, and a lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said, if you just change the order of this game, if you change this, if you change that, I think even the vision you were going for would have still worked. I think you could have kept the basic storyline, but it still would have worked if you just made these couple changes. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think if everybody kind of did that, then I do think they would see that. I absolutely think they would see that. Even somebody like Angry Joe, I feel like they probably have seen that review, his review. So if you liked what he said in that, then maybe that makes you feel even better, because maybe it's like, oh, maybe they saw that, maybe they took something from that, maybe they didn't, maybe they thought he wasn't really making really strong arguments against them. You know, however you want to view it, but. Again, these harassment kind of things, they just overall hurt. They hurt the conversation because they kind of stop it in its track and turn it in a different way where it's like, okay, we're not talking about the negativity. We're not talking about the constructive criticism about the game anymore. We're not talking about how we would make it better, what we would change, what we would want in a part 3. Instead, we're saying all of these other, random things going after the people making the game. Is it their fault? Firstly, if it's anybody's fault, it would be Neil Druckmann's. I would say that if you're against the story, Neil Druckmann is probably your guy. Again, that doesn't mean you go attack the guy. Laura Bailey, I just don't understand that she has got nothing to do with this. Actors and actresses, they just play a role, okay? Do they have input in that role? Sure, but I mean, she didn't actually destroy Joel, okay? That wasn't Laura Bailey, that she didn't do that. So, like, when people do things like that, and again, I don't know if people went after Troy Baker or Ashley Johnson. I'm sure probably some of people did, but ultimately you just don't do that, right? Ultimately you just don't do that. I think overall it hurts the conversation more than it helps it. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with the harassment? Hopefully nobody does. Do you disagree? Do you think that this kind of hurts constructive criticism? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and also join us on Discord. I'll leave a link for that in the description below as well. I know a lot of you guys have already joined. We talked about The Last of Us Part 2 there. Talk about a lot of other things there as well. If you guys have not yet already joined, it'll be in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I hope to see you all on the next video.